What if the reason you're not building momentum isn't because you haven't found the right strategy? What if it's because you're stuck in the wrong stage of momentum building? You're tweaking things, you're pivoting, you're researching, you're planning, organizing, you're buying new courses, you're rewriting your messaging or rewriting your positioning, and all of those things feel productive, yes. However, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months later, none of those changes have compounded. You're busy, but nothing's actually happening. Now, if this conversation has made you realize that one of your biggest obstacles probably isn't strategy, because you don't need more information, you don't need another strategy or another certification. It's probably the way that you're making decisions inside of your business. Hey there, and welcome to the Life and Business on Purpose podcast, where purpose meets profit and mindset meets strategy. I'm your host, Sandy Patterson, former kindergarten teacher turned online business coach, mom of 2 really cool boys, and the creator of the Momentum Method. Through this 3-phase method over the past 2.5 years, I have helped dozens of women build values-aligned, profitable businesses without working 40+ hours a week, so they get to enjoy their business and live their lives on purpose. Around here, we do business differently because we believe success isn't about hustling to prove ourselves. We don't believe in rigid formulas or chasing someone else's version of success. It's about channeling perfection into power, moving with unstoppable trust in life and business, and leading with strategy that actually fits your life. Let's build your life and business on purpose together, one episode at a time. Here we go. Hello there. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I am so freaking happy that you're here today. Now, I am wondering, have you ever felt like every few months inside of your online coaching business that you are back at the beginning? So maybe it's you coming up with a new offer or a new content strategy or new messaging or a new niche or this fresh burst of motivation. And yet somehow through this cycle, your business never actually feels like it's moving forward. So there are these cycles of motivation and excitement and switching things around, and then nothing really seems to be working. This is where we are constantly looking for that new magic strategy that's going to just blow it up and have the clients just coming in through our content and getting Stripe notifications every morning when we wake up and when we're out to dinner with our family. But what if the reason you're not building momentum isn't because you haven't found the right strategy? What if it's because you're stuck in the wrong stage of momentum building? I know that you feel like you are making progress because you're constantly taking action and doing things. You're tweaking things, you're pivoting, you're researching, you're planning, organizing, you're buying new courses, you're rewriting your messaging or rewriting your positioning, and all of those things feel productive, yes. However, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months later, none of those changes have compounded. You're busy, yes, but nothing's actually happening. You're building circles instead of actually building momentum. So I don't think momentum is something that you accidentally create. I think momentum is something that you have to intentionally build inside of our online coaching businesses. And there is this misconception that, hey, I started my coaching business, I have my coaching certification, I have this niche, I have this offer, that the momentum should just automatically start building because those things are in place. And that's not actually the case. It wasn't the case for me when I first started my business, even though I wanted it to be the case. And it's not the case for a lot of my clients who come to me and say, Sandy, I'm doing all of this work and nothing seems to be working. And when they say working, they mean I don't have clients coming in. I'm not sure where my next client is coming from. I want to make more money in my business, and I'm doing all of these things, the tweaking, the planning, the organizing, and nothing seems to be working. It's because they're not intentionally building and compounding momentum. So instead of asking what strategy should I use, what course do I need to go buy, what do I need to be doing instead, what can I tweak and fix and change here to get the result? I started asking a really important question. Where am I in the momentum building process? And this question has also really helped my clients hone in on what it is that they actually need to be doing and also how long they need to be staying in it. And this is where everything starts to change. I believe there are 4 stages to intentionally building momentum. So the first stage is expose, and then interrupt, simplify, and sustain. Most people think that momentum building starts with just taking action, or you hear it all the time, take messy action, just do it. But I actually think that momentum building starts a lot earlier than when the action is taken. Most online coaches have trouble building this momentum in this specific 4-step way because they don't actually know what they're repeating. Okay, so they're aware that they restart. So I call this self-interruption. When you immediately panic because your post didn't get engagement or people aren't reaching out, or you start to sell this offer and immediately within, 24 to 48 hours, nobody's buying. We have this panic attack because we want the certainty. We want to know that it's going to quote unquote work, that people are going to come in, that it's relevant, that people want this offer, that people want to buy it essentially. So we're aware that we self-interrupt and we restart, right? So instead of sticking with something for a long period of time, or at least enough time to get solid data from that strategy, we restart. But what people are not aware of is what triggers the restart and when it happens and how often it happens. Because you cannot interrupt a pattern that you haven't identified. You can't change something if you're not seeing it. So what we notice here is that you're changing your messaging after a slow week. You have to connect the 2 dots to go, what is inducing this panic inside of me where I wake up at midnight and go, holy shit, why is this offer not working? Or why are people not buying? Or where are my clients coming from? Is it because you're having a slow week? So then the action that you decide to take is to change your messaging or tweak your niche or change, the whole offer itself. I've seen this happen before. I've done this before. You buy another strategy course or something that you're going to learn after a launch flops, right? We're not necessarily connecting the two. It's just kind of happening because of that underlying belief that, oh my gosh, this didn't work, so I must need something else outside of me. I see this too, rewriting the offer after you get one objection. So somebody says, oh, that's too expensive. So we go back to the offer, we tweak it, we change it, and now all of a sudden we need new messaging, we need new positioning for it, and everything has changed. These are all patterns, okay? And it's not about the actual strategy. And this is why the restart or the self-interruption is so important. And this matters because, again, if you can't see it, you can't change it. So interrupting this pattern of restarting and self-interrupting, it's not actually about forcing yourself to stay consistent. I know all of you here are very disciplined and very consistent. You can be consistent and you can be disciplined. The problem is you're banking on things working in order to go all in. So you start making decisions when that discomfort shows up. And when I say discomfort, I mean people aren't buying. Things are slow. It feels like it's not working. And you want things to work like yesterday, right? Like we are impatient women. We want the answer. We want to know now, and we want that certainty. But business, like you can kiss certainty goodbye if you are in online business. And I think that this is a big reason why a lot of women do not stick with it long enough to actually see the momentum compound enough for it to quote unquote start working. And when it starts working, it's like you're placing bricks. You're building a house with bricks. Like it's not just you snap your fingers and Rome is built. It's like, no, we stack these bricks and it slowly begins to compound. And we don't like slow. Like we do not live in a society that likes slow or likes has to use, patience and wait for things, and sitting in that discomfort is the freaking worst. So this is truly about making different decisions when that discomfort and when that uncertainty shows up. So it's not necessarily about doing less. It's about removing everything that's competing for that momentum. So again, it's not about discipline. It's about building a business that compounds instead of constantly restarting. So that's the expose step of this 4-part process of building momentum. The second step, interrupting, is literally about making different decisions when that discomfort of things feeling like they're not working or things feeling uncertain after, 24 hours shows up. The third step, simplify, it's actually not about doing less. It's about removing everything that's competing to build that momentum. And then the last step, sustain, isn't about discipline. Like I said, I know that you can be disciplined. You're just looking for that certainty. And we know that in business, you can freaking kiss that certainty goodbye. This step is about building a business that compounds instead of constantly restarting. So giving things long enough time to actually get the data that's going to help you drive your decisions. Now, I just want to share that I very much in the beginning of my business was a strategy hoe, okay? I was hopping around from strategy to strategy, buying different courses, different content calendars, downloading anything that I could freaking find on the internet because I was so certain that there was this strategy out there that everybody else seemed to know about and I was just missing, so that I could get consistent clients in my business, so that I could understand how to generate revenue in my business when I needed to. So I would buy everything. I would change my messaging, like lots of niche jumping in the beginning of my business. And yes, like my niche has absolutely evolved, but it's evolved not from a place of panic or like, oh my gosh, I need to change this and I need to go figure out who to talk to so they'll buy my offer, into this is actually who I want to help. This is actually what I'm really good at supporting women around. And this is what I want to help them build. So the evolution comes from a place of actual data, not from a place of panicking and going, oh my gosh, this isn't working. I got to jump ship. So I very much wish somebody had have told me at the beginning of my business, like, Sandy, take a deep breath. We know that like you can order something on Amazon and have it here the next morning. That's not how business is. Business takes time, and this momentum literally compounds. So everything that I do today, I know is a drop in the bucket. And it's not about one post or one objection or one offer even. We zoom out and we look at the big picture. And this is what this 4-step process to intentionally build momentum has done for me in my business and has done for my clients. So the best part about this is there's no more like constant freaking out inside of this cycle of going, okay, I've got this momentum. I'm inspired. I'm going to try this new strategy. This is the thing. This is what's going to make it work. And then you kind of dip your toe in and go, okay, but there's no certainty. So let me just try it for a little bit. And then you pull back and change everything again and get mad at yourself because it's not working. And then you go find the next strategy or the next course or the next whatever it is. And the whole cycle starts over again. So it was changing things constantly, thinking the next strategy was going to save my business. But nothing changed in my business until I literally did the opposite of what I was doing, which was I stopped looking for another strategy and I started looking at my own decision making and where this jumping ship and this self-interruption was actually happening. Now, girl, if this conversation has made you realize that one of your biggest obstacles probably isn't strategy, because you don't need more information. You don't need another strategy or another certification. It's probably the way that you're making decisions inside of your business. And that is exactly why I created the Momentum Sprint. Over 4 weeks, just you and I are going to walk through each of these stages, not just so you understand them, but so that you can actually apply them to your own business and stop the self-interruption, stop the restarting, and be able to sit in the discomfort and the uncertainty long enough for what you're doing to actually compound. And even if the strategy, I'm not saying that you have to stick with a strategy forever, even if it's not working, but long enough at least to get the data to help you make decisions. Because the momentum itself, it doesn't actually come from knowing this framework, this 4-part framework. It comes from changing the way that you're making decisions every week, every day, every month, whatever that looks like for you and your business. So I will drop the link for that 30-day momentum sprint inside of the show notes. So you can absolutely check that out if that's something that you feel like would really support you and help you build the momentum that you're looking for so that you are bringing in clients. You are creating recurring revenue inside of your business. You are no longer panicking when something doesn't work immediately, and you know how to sit in your business as a real CEO does and not jump ship every time something freaks you out. Okay. I would love to support you in that way. Also, if this episode resonated, hop over to Instagram and let me know what resonated with you or what you realized. A lot of people, when I have this conversation with them, they'll say, now I realize why I cannot seem to build momentum. Like this is the conversation. Like this is the thing. And I finally understand why I feel stuck. And now I know that there's a process to also get out of this. Thank goodness, right? So hop on over to Instagram. Let me know what resonated with you. If you feel so inclined, it would help me out so much if you could leave a review on the podcast. Just hit the stars. It takes 2 seconds. If you want to write a review out, that would just make my whole day. I love receiving the reviews. I love reading them. It means the world to me. And also it helps get this podcast into the ears of other women who are out there building businesses, kicking ass, changing the world with their beautiful gifts. So I love you. Thanks for being here. I will see you back for the next episode. Mwah. If you are sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, this episode was made for me, you have 2 options. You can book your absolutely free, no pressure growth gap audit call. On this call, we'll take a look at your current life and business structure, identify where your gaps are, and show you how to close those gaps so you can get better results with less effort by working smarter and focusing your time on what actually moves the needle forward. The link is in the show notes for you. Or if you're ready to go from one-off wins to repeatable revenue with structure, strategy, and sales that support your life and keep dream clients coming back and your calendar full without burning out, you can apply to work together by clicking the link in the show notes. Make sure you hit that follow button so you don't miss any new episodes. And if this episode hits home, please consider leaving a review, hitting those stars, and sending it to your biz bestie who's also ready to build a life and business on purpose. I'll see you next time.